خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جد رسول الله أريد أن أأمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر. Tamam. And Imam Hussain is setting out the mission statement of this entire movement towards Karbala. Reformation of the religion. Islah, the opposite of Islah is fasad. The deen has been corrupted to such an extent that it needs to be reformed. The mannerism of reform is through what? Amra bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. I'm enjoining the good and I'm prohibiting the bad. Tamam. What is the basis of this Amra bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar? How are you going to enjoin the good and how are you going to prohibit the evil? And what are you reforming the religion towards? The last part of the statement says this: أريد أن أسير في سيرة جد رسول الله وأبي علي ibn Abi Talib. I want to implement the seerah, walk in the seerah, revive the seerah of my grandfather Rasulullah. But he didn't stop there. If Imam Hussain would have said the religions become corrupt and I'm coming to establish the seerah of my grandfather, re-establish the seerah of my grandfather, grammatically speaking, the sentence is complete. Tamam. And in fact, it includes everybody. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashabu shahadatain are included in this statement. Sahla.
He goes to Walaya.
Ahsant. Ya jazakumullah. Why did Imam al-Hussain insist wasirati Abi Ali ibn Abi Talib? Does that mean Imam al-Hussain was sectarian?
No.
La. Why was he insistent on the seerah of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Because 60 years down the line, you have got a wide spectrum of people, all of them claiming to be the representation of the deen of Rasulullah, when in reality they have turned the deen inside out. Imam al-Hussain didn't come for people to pray. People were already praying. In fact, subhanAllah, they were so religious, mans were reciting Salatul Jummah on Wednesdays. This is during the time of Muawiyah. Sahlullah. Muawiyah recited on Wednesday. They have Minu is one of these lines, may have been Marwan, I believe, or Walid, where Salatul Fajr, he was feeling so spiritual, he decided that he wants to recite 4 rak'ahs for Fajr. So Alhamdulillah, there was no shortage of Salat.
Even they say Yazid used to establish Salah while he was drunk.
Ahsant. In fact, an interesting thing is that in regards to Yazid, a lot of the historians have also established that he was a Hafidh al-Quran. And if you look at the Diwan of Yazid, Al-La'in, you will see how he has the ability to incorporate verses of the Holy Quran within his poetry. And the flow of the verses of the Quran within the poetry show us that he had a memorization of the Holy Quran. It shouldn't surprise us that Yazid was a memorizer of the Quran. How many dawa'ish we have seen who are memorizers of the Quran, and look what they ended up doing.
The words of Quran.
Abna'ul Qawm. Tamam. So what we were saying what?
About the Islah and Wilayah.
So Imam al-Hussain said, La bisirati Abi Ali ibn Abi Talib. The true seerah of Rasulullah and the true deen of Rasulullah is reflected in the seerah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Two sides of the same coin. There is wilayah towards risala and there is wilayah towards imamah. The coin is one, the coin being the deen. One side of the coin is a risala, the other side of the coin is wilayah. So the true representation of the teachings of Rasulullah through the seerah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the ummah had strayed so far out to the extent that the deen has been turned upside down based on the fact that the teachings of Amir al-Mu'mineen were abandoned. His leadership was abandoned. Guidance in its full sense, Islam had become nothing but a superficial show. It was just a
performance.
This is all it was. The ruh of Islam was missing. And Imam Hussain, you know, if you look at Karbala, and you boy, when it comes down to the crunch, the lesson in Karbala, Imam Hussain and the Ashura revolved around the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen in its entirety. Look at what Imam al-Hussain says in his first khutbah. In one of the khutbahs on the day of Ashura. He says to the people, do you not know that my uncle is Hamza, Sayyid al-Shuhada? Do you not know Ja'far al-Tayyar is my uncle? Do you not know Khadija bint Khuwaylid is my grandmother? So on and so forth. Until he comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Do you not know that my father Amir al-Mu'mineen was the first one? Kana awwaluhum islaman wa ahwatihim ilman. That he was the first one to become a Muslim, to embrace Islam. He had the most ilm. He had the most forbearance. And he is the one for whom Rasulullah said that he has wilaya ala kulli mu'minin wa mu'mina. Imam al-Hussain made a reference to Eid al-Ghadir on the day of Ashura. Look at what Shimr bin Dhil Joshan said. He said, have I stolen anything from you people? Have I violated any of your rights? Why are you killing me? What did Shimr bin Dhil Joshan say? Bugdhan li abik. See how everything eventually comes down to the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Can there be this reformation was about what? In summary, reinstating the position of imamate as the central tenet, the imamate of Ali Muhammad as the central tenet of Islam.
Ahsad.
This is the religion that Rasulullah left behind, because in Ghadir, the verse that was revealed was what? Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam dina. So when Imam al-Hussain is coming to reform the deen, this deen in which there was the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now there is no more rida. This deen which was al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum, the deen now doesn't have kamal. This ni'mah that was complete now doesn't remain anymore, because the people abandoned the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and it needed a revolution as powerful as the revolution of Karbala for people to begin to understand the centrality of wilayah.